right, welcome to Forever Exile, the Path of Exile podcast. I'm Justin, aka Tags.
Tyler Record Days.
And I'm Brittleknee.
Hey, Brittleknee, back for 131 of Forever Exiled, Path of Exile podcast.
Heck yeah.
Mostly
Thanks for
Path
having
of,
me back.
mostly Path of Exile.
Mostly. Some
just-
lawn care.
You just never know what you're going to get.
Some
Your
whiskey.
first 14 minutes is just chilling with us, so suck it up.
Okay.
Well, not just you, to the commenters, you know?
Oh, my bad. Sorry, I just got so.
The commenters.
Did you want to talk about your lawn, BK?
No.
Okay.
Well, it'll come up.
I don't have one right now. It's just the jungle of kudzu.
Yeah, we learned about kudzu before the podcast. So if you don't know what it is, Google it. You'll learn. It was informative. I found out many things.
Mm-hmm. It's Southie.
Yeah, but it's new to the States. Started in Asia. God, where else? What else could I tell you? Big shout out to our patrons, Baggin33, for joining this week. Thank you very much. For everybody else who supports the podcast, your faces are awesome. We love you. If you're curious what our Patreon is, it gets you access to After Dark, which is our podcast after the podcast, and more stuff and things, etc. Thanks.
Agreed. Thanks.
All right, so let's just jump into it. How was everybody's week? BK, you want to start?
Sure. My week has been continued house improvements, basically. Trying to get ready for spring, have some goals in mind as far as what I want to accomplish. So mostly prepping the backyard, getting the garden beds ready, gonna be planting a lot, hopefully tomorrow, because the weather here, I'm not gonna call it a cold snap because everyone makes the joke about a Floridian saying the word cold.
Yeah, what
it's
is
some really
cold?
nice, pleasant weather. It's a high of 68 out there right now. So it's
Hang on.
beautiful
We
Hold
need
weather
on,
to
we got to do
translate
some
into English.
translating
Yeah,
here.
sorry,
to
I don't know
real
what that
numbers.
is in non-freedom units.
No.
I like
That's
that
such an
comment.
offensive thing to say. What did you say? 68? 68.
Racist!
20 degrees. God,
What are we talking
I want
about?
20 degrees.
68
Fahrenheit.
How do you spell
just
Fahrenheit?
really,
Is it
really-
It's another
spelled
American
like
thing. They
Massachusetts?
just add a bunch of letters.
What'd you
68
say?
is 20.
68?
Fahrenheit is, I thought it was German.
Well, you're the only ones
I
that
don't
use
know.
it. So
Yeah.
in this
I-
current conversation,
Dang,
that's
20 degrees.
Yeah, that's
That's
nice
nice.
weather for us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, continue.
So the idea is to get everything done today and
Whoa,
go get some
okay.
tomatoes and peppers and all that kind of good stuff tomorrow and a bunch of different seeds. I'm going to do green beans, a couple different types of peppers, a couple different types of tomatoes, and do spinach and red lettuce and green lettuce. And I was
Ooh.
actually going to mess around and see if I could grow some cucumbers and zucchini this time around too.
Okay, I have a
Oh,
question
that's
because you guys
nice.
both like to grow stuff. Do
Mhm.
you grow stuff that is then enough that will last you, or do you just grow it as you need it, or how does that how do you?
The plants continuously put off product. So the blooming process and the fruiting process isn't like a one and done thing. It grows and it's
Yeah, I'm done.
and then it's done. No,
Right.
and it flops
Oh.
over dead. No,
Yeah, then the plant gets really tired after.
Yeah, it's like,
and
all
needs
right,
a
I'm
nap.
finished. That's right. We'll see you next
usually it
season.
wants a sandwich as well. You have to put a. But no, so the fruiting process is ongoing. So usually it'll last for, most tomatoes, for example, and the peppers will just continue to grow and grow and grow. And you can actually take, tomatoes do this really cool thing too, where there's this, I don't even know what they're called in non-gardening lingo, but they're called suckers. And it's the way the plant grows certain stalks that you can actually trim off parts of it and repropagate it so you can make more plants from your plant as it goes. And then those are on slightly different growth cycles. So it kind of staggers when it's blooming so that you have a continuous supply, but you only need a couple plants to get started. And then, the first freeze comes and, well, for you guys, it's much earlier, but for us, it's November, maybe early December, and kills everything. And then you just kind of let the garden die.
Do you have problems though with too much water? Because
I plant in a raised garden bed so
Okay.
that it will drain. I have a whole system as far as how because I went 2 feet down on mine, and then there is layers of there's a rocky layer and then a layer of nothing but straw, and then sort of like mulch and then topsoil on top of that. So I have like my own sort of composting bin in each bed as well.
Nice. Good work.
So that it will drain. And then there's nothing capping off the rocky layer. So that will actually, if any water gets to that point, then it just goes into the ground really far below where I'm at. So it doesn't make my bed soggy.
So this is like an actual garden. It's not like those, I don't know what those containers are or whatever that people plant
Yeah,
in.
it's not like a container
Okay.
at all. It's like a proper garden. I've got 2 4x4 and a 4x8.
Oh, like those big things then.
Mhm.
Okay, cool.
Nice. Good for you. And when
Yeah,
does
it's the first thing when I asked when I moved in, I'm like, you don't mind if I put a garden in here? And she's like, no. I was like, all right.
Awesome. Good
Wow.
for you. When spring start for you where you are in Florida?
Like 2 weeks ago, I've just been lazy.
Oh, okay. But
You
it
can
is
plant
relatively
early.
late, like it's normally March
Mhm.
or early February or
You can go like late February, depending on if there's a freeze or not, and if you have the ability to cover your plants. Like if you're going from seed, you want to start all of your seedlings like February.
totally.
But if you're going from plants, like March is usually safe as far as planting, because it still gets down to like the 40s, but it won't freeze again.
Hang on.
Oh, hey, hold on. Before you check it
Oh,
out,
sorry again.
when I typed it in, the very first option in Google was, you know how it says like people also ask, and the very top one was, how do you convert Fahrenheit to Celsius easily? And then in bold it says the temperature conversion is easy to do. Take the Fahrenheit temperature and subtract 32. Multiply this number by 5. Divide this number by 9, and now you have your answer. I was
Easy.
like,
You got
you know what's
damn
easier? Type it into
simpletons.
Google.
It's so easy.
That's right.
Yeah,
God.
exactly.
Try and do that while you're driving.
Oh.
You get in an accident.
Yeah, I was dividing by 9.
40 is 4 degrees.
I mean, thank goodness kilograms to pounds is easier because that's just multiplying or dividing by 2.2.
I just do 2.
So that's easy. Yeah. Well, we have to be a little bit more precise giving medicine by weight as a paramedic.
Oh yeah, I guess so. You
I
just
can't
guess.
just like
You're like,
grab
yeah,
a handful of aspirin and throw it at someone's mouth and be like,
Oh,
whatever
yeah.
sticks, that's the dosage. That's
if it was morphine, that's what I would be wanting.
oh,
Just
yeah.
like, just until I feel that heat. Just keep, no, I don't feel, oh, there we go. It's my favorite drug in the world. Give me
That's
morphine.
awesome.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, that's cool. You do plant stuff, don't you, Ty? Like you
Yeah.
try to plant stuff.
Yeah, and I actually like a lot of the same plants that she mentioned. But we are, of course, our temperatures are different here. Like she said, we frost early, we spring later, and throughout the season, like we only have maybe 2 hot months. So depending on what you want to grow, it's not something where you can have, like an 8-month or a 10-month cycle. A lot of the stuff, like peppers, for example, they'll grow slower here. And they'll come to fruition and you'll have tons of them, but you'll have tons for maybe a month and then they start fading away. So things like that, get away with some cool sun with it for things like cucumbers and all that. So just because our seasons are a little bit different and where our yard is, where I can garden, there's only even though we have a big yard, there's only a small section that gets a permanent amount of sun because of the big trees we have around. So most of the stuff we plant's just for snack stuff. So before the flood, I was getting a raspberry bush to grow along the back fence, which I was really excited for, but that died. And then so I'll have to start that process over again. But we normally just do stuff like strawberries, carrots. I like my own garlic because that just grows for forever and replants itself. Peas. We just do things that when we're out there, we can, oh, look, it's ready. And you can eat it while you're playing catch or something.
It's like I grew up in, I don't know if you'd call it a gardening family, but it was just like one of those things where it was cheaper to grow our own produce. So like, it's not that my family necessarily was full of green thumbs. It was just like economically smarter. So we did it. And one of the earliest memories, my mom, we used to grow our pole beans up on like the fence by the pool. So I'd be swimming around. My mom would just chuck pole beans at me the whole time. Because they needed to be washed anyways, right? So she'd just hawk them across the fucking deck at me and I'd have to go get them.
And then wash them or what?
Yeah, we'd wash them again, but it was just to get like the initial dirt and pests and stuff, like throwing them into a chlorinated pool. I mean, it's the same. I don't know, weird Florida stuff. Maybe that explains a lot. Maybe these chlorinated beans are like why Floridians are fucking crazy. Who knows? But it was just like a kind of fond memory growing up was being pelted with beans.
Cool.
We did strawberries.
Did
We
you?
grew
Strawberries are
strawberries.
really easy to grow here
Yeah.
too. My God.
Yeah, it wasn't a hanging thing though.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, because they don't like to touch the ground, so you usually have to put hay around the bushes, and so it lays the strawberries down on the hay instead of putting it directly on the ground. If you put it on the ground, then the ants are like, "Oh, that's mine,"
Yeah, they just get moldy.
because
and
they
stuff.
like it. Mm-hmm.
We just had 2 that hung in the porch, and
Yeah, it's a big Florida crop because of our temperature and the amount of sun that we get. Mostly of it's grown over by Lake City, and yeah, strawberries get like to be like $1.50 a pound here. Like you can get huge cartons of them for like no dollars.
yeah, that's cheap.
Wow, that is
Mhm.
really cheap.
Yeah, two things that we have during the summer that are probably like our best crop is sweet corn and strawberries. That's like what summer is to me, at least down here.
Nice. That's cool. So you're doing that this week when you're not
Yeah,
broadcasting?
then hopefully tomorrow.
You'll be gardening.
Tomorrow. If
Think you can
not
get it all
Sunday,
done
for
tomorrow?
sure we'll get it. Yeah, I mean, like it's just me. I'm not growing
like you
enough
have to
for an
grow like
entire
a-
family. I don't need like a huge, gigantic amount, so it's actually pretty easy to manage.
I don't know how do you know how many to grow? Do you just guess like how many you need to plant?
I mean, sure. But
At the beginning, you do.
I end up I always plant a little bit more because I do a lot of canning and freezing and preserving too.
Mm.
So, like, I grow an abundance of tomatoes, but I basically break it down into like I don't know the equivalent of what it would be, but I basically just will take the skins off and roast them down and then blend them up with just onion and a little bit of garlic, but like no seasoning. And then I freeze that in packs. And what I do instead of like buying marinara sauce, I have these packs of like already pre-done stuff. And then depending on like when you're heating it back through, you can add like taco seasoning, and then it's kind of like a impromptu kind of enchilada sauce, or you can add like basil and oregano, and now it's a spaghetti sauce. Or you can add some of like the more Moroccan herbs and spices, and then all of a sudden you've got a base for like shakshuka or something like that for breakfast. So there's like, if you kind of like break it down into a really basic element and then preserve as much of that as possible, and then you have it for the rest of the year.
Justin's Googling what chasuka is.
It's good if you've never had it. Yeah,
Shakshuka.
it's so good. It's like I make that
Is that
every
eggs?
weekend. So it's like this really
eggs.
spicy, tomatoey,
polite.
kind of peppery
Hey, I'm
sauce.
learning things, Ty. I'm learning.
And then you put eggs on the top of it and stick it underneath
It
the
looks
broiler.
really good. Yep.
And then you just get like a crusty bread, like a nice sourdough, and then that's breakfast. It's good.
I heard the word and I was like, she's just making shit up. But nope.
Justin's brain's gonna hurt by the end of this because of all the
The
stuff
things
we're
I'm going to
talking
come
about.
out of here knowing.
Yeah, the stuff from before the recording and then during. And after dark, Justin's going to be a deadbeat.
Let me tell you something. I'm going to teach you stuff in After Dark. Ooh, some avocado. Oh, yeah, that does look really good. It's very fancy.
No, it's not.
Well, it just
If
looks
you don't want to
fancy in
make
the
it
pictures.
yourself, you can get it pre-done in a jar and just dump it into a casserole dish and then crack some eggs.
Oh, yeah,
If you
the
want
eggs
to be
look like they're...
super lazy.
I'm up for that. Huh, it looks good. Listen, if I don't know words, that's what I Google, Ty.
Hey, good for you. Good for you.
Shakshuka. What'd you do, Ty? What'd you do this week?
I had a hilarious conversation with my son. He's only 7, but we have a newspaper route, him, his sister, and so either Aaron and I help him out with it each week. And while we're finishing up, he's been really focused on money lately, which is really funny. And so they had some door hangers that they had to put on as well as the normal newspapers, and they get paid a few extra cents per
I
door
hate
hanger.
those things.
Yeah, and we have
Hate
66 houses. It was a pain. It took us an extra half hour to get it done, and it wasn't the greatest weather. But he, for the longest time, he wanted to be a robot engineer. Like, we would go to the store, and the stuff that stood out to him was like the stuff that you could build, and then it would function in a certain way afterwards. And he ended up being so into it, and we get him a whole bunch of those different things for his birthday and stuff. And he always, he's 7, right? And we know he's 7, so we're not taking it to the bank, but he's always talking about being a robot engineer and all these cool things he was gonna do. And then all of a sudden one day he just realized, he's like, I have to do so much to be a robot engineer. And so one day, all of a sudden, just during dinner, he interrupted everybody and he's like, I'm just going to live at home forever. I'm not going to get married. I'm not going to have a job. I'm just going to stay at home forever, and I'm going to play video games. And that's now his goal. Like when you ask him what he wants to be, when his teachers ask him, he's going to stay at home and play video games for forever. And he thought that his money, he would just be able to use, because he doesn't understand. We've never explained it to him. He thought he could just use a credit card and buy whatever he wanted and just stay at home. And
obviously.
It was the most hilarious conversation.
Unfortunately, a lot of people with credit cards think it's like that too.
Yeah, I know,
wait,
right?
what? You can't?
What, I have to pay you back? there's the maximum and limit interest rates.
Yeah, and so it was a hilarious conversation because he's sobbing on the way home. Like we finish our route and we have maybe a 10-minute walk back to the house when we're finished our route, and he is sobbing as he's discovering that he still has to make money to pay off his credit card, that a credit card was just a different way to use money. It's not free money. And it screwed over his plans that he'd been thinking of for like half a year. Like somewhere along the line, he discovered credit cards and thought that it was just free money. And it was just what he was relying on. It's just hilarious to see this 6/7-year-old kid's brain going from like, I want to do this to I'm going to stay at home and only use credit cards. And I got the plan. I got it set up. Like he was heartbroken. It was hilarious. And so anyway, we introduced him to debit cards, and that makes sense to him now. But it was a really cute conversation to have. But yeah, no, there was that. I'm still getting articles from April Fool's Day. Screw you, April Fool's Day, and Google for thinking that, an article that would have interested me 7-8 days ago on April Fool's Day is relevant. So I'm still getting news that Nico Hülkenberg is replacing Sebastian Vettel in Formula One. It's really annoying. And my perimeter drain's almost done. Justin BK.
Oh, cool.
It is. Like all the holes, everything's filled, everything's done. There's just a few minor touches to do, and they sprayed hydro seed. I don't know if that's something they have everywhere or not, but it's like this, looks like crap, but it's apparently a really fast and good quality growing grass that they sprayed on throughout the whole back and the front. And so we got ribbons all around now, but I actually have a yard.
Grass that's sprayed. I was
well,
like,
I'm curious, what's the makeup of the grass they're using?
Oh my god.
Well, I mean, they would use whatever seed. Like,
I would assume they would use like a cool season grass, but I'm curious. There's like 5 cool season grasses.
Do you want me to send you a picture?
I'm looking it up.
Well, just drive by.
He has the internet, Tyler.
Yeah, it's back
He's
on.
unstoppable.
Power. I was losing my mind. Our power went out before we started recording today, which was awful.
We were just about to sign on into Discord to do it all, and Justin
I had just gotten home, and all of a sudden things went off. I was like, "What? No, no. What's happening here?"
And BK was very patient to wait for us. But anyway, yeah, no, all my lawns got sprayed with hydro seed, so it's really ugly right now, but it'll look gorgeous in 4 to 6 weeks.
Do you have to water it yourself? Because apparently it requires a lot of watering.
Yeah, I do. It's going to be a full-time job for a month, but it's all right.
So it's easy for them to put down, but
you got to do a lot of work.
The burden falls on you to actually make the shit live.
Yeah, I was pretty disappointed that nothing would have been provided, but at the same time, we wanted sod because that just would have been easier. You can just ignore it and life goes on. But because of the flood that we had in November, all of the sod farms got destroyed, and so they had to start fresh. And so now residential properties aren't the priority. It's more municipalities and things that need to be done in that regards that are getting the priority sod. So unfortunately, seed was the only option.
It quite often contains mulch, fertilizer, and lime, but you can customize the seed. So I'm curious, do you know what the makeup of the seed was? Oh,
no.
That's a problem.
Hey, listen, it's going to be way better than
crabgrass.
That's right. That's right.
That's right.
100% crabgrass.
If it's all crabgrass, that's fine because it all looks the same.
As it's all the same.
I just don't want splotches. No crabgrass among nice grass. But no, anyway, I had a good
That's
week.
really cool, though.
Yep. Well, it looks really ugly, but we knew it would.
It'll look good later, though.
Yeah, it'll be nice. So I'm excited for it. Just, do you have a week?
So I'm just curious, like it says sod requires 2 weeks of intensive watering to establish well. A hydroseeded lawn can sometimes require 2 months of intensive watering.
Depends. And right now we're still freezing at night in April. We're still freezing at night. So it's probably going to be the 6-week mark instead of the 4-week mark.
You guys all have to stay off of it too. Oh, for 2 months. Jeez.
Yeah. It'll be just in time for summer.
Cool. I'm curious to see how it works. I'd never heard of it before.
Yeah.
God, the things I'm learning today.
Your mind is going to explode.
Unbelievable. Yeah, I didn't think I had room for more up there, Ty. I do.
I can't come up with things fast enough to say some sort of joke about a small brain already being full, the drawers are not working.
Dumb.
I don't know. Yeah, that's great. So anyway, Jess, tell us about your week before we move on.
My week was pretty basic. We dealt with COVID 2 weeks ago, so that was whatever. And then my 7-year-old, who was treating everyone like lepers, she did not want to get it. She wanted to go to school. She came down with it on Friday last week, and she was
devastated.
She was like, I can't go to school on Monday. Blah. I was like, you are the weirdest 7-year-old.
I know, right? Even at that age, I was like, I get to stay home and watch Disney movies.
Exactly. And that's what she did. She chilled out at home. She did puzzles. Her sister stayed because there was no point in sending her to daycare if we were going to have to sort out being at home anyway. So her sister stayed home with her and they just played. But kids when they're sick unless they're really bad, they're just so much like you would not have known she was sick. And 2 weeks ago, you knew I was sick. For those 2 days of like the 2 worst days of COVID for me were just awful. And my kids though are like, I got it. Something's weird in my throat. That's about it. So today was her first day back because we have 5 days from the time of symptoms and blah, blah, blah here. But so this morning it did not matter how she felt. She didn't care. She's like, I'm going to school today. She took like a couple lozenges and she's like, yep, I'm out of here. See ya. She was off. So yeah, my week was work and that, like trying to work from home. I was looking forward to today all week because finally my kids were out of the house because it's just hard to get anything done with them here. So
I almost went, aw, because I thought you were going to mean like the podcast, but.
Oh, and the podcast, of course.
What he meant was he kicks kids out of the house for the podcast because he's so excited to talk to us.
I did play. So I've been playing Tiny Tina's Wonderland.
Yeah, how is
the new
it?
Borderlands. You know what? It's actually really good. I played Borderlands 3 and all the DLCs, and the humor in it was not good compared to 1, especially in 1 and 2. The humor in this one is very good. Like it's a Dungeons and Dragons sort of style. They've incorporated
one of the Borderlands 2 DLCs was sort of like this. So it's like a continuation of that original one.
Yeah, sort of. I don't know how the stories interact because the 2 characters that are with Tina, I don't remember them, but I assume they've been around in other stories. I just don't remember them.
Who are they?
Valentine and Fret, I think, is the robot's name. But they're all voiced by like I think it's Andy Samberg is the Valentine character. Fret, the robot, is Wanda Sykes. And then they've got Will Arnett is the bad guy. He's the Dark Lord. And they've got and then the stories are really fun because they play off of like King Arthur and all these other different like sub stories that are side quests and other stuff it's just really fun.
Gotcha.
But it was funny this week while I was playing it because there was a moment where I did think about the podcast coming up because I don't remember. I think it was a side quest. I can't remember, but Valentine, he's one of the characters, says something and he's disagreeing with Tiny Tina, who's like running the show, and she's not impressed. And she just says, "Are you sassing me?" And I instantly thought of, I don't know why, but it made me think of BK. I was like, I could hear her saying it just exactly in that same way. Like, are you sassing me? It was it just cracked me up, but it's fun. It's actually really fun. The humor in it's really good. It's kind of fun to play a Borderlands style where I'm actually amused. Cause last time it was all like YouTube and streaming and everybody's doing selfies.
Yeah, well, considering like the big, whatchamacallit, big villains are basically like 2 Instagram impression people. I was like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah, they're like these streamer type. It just wasn't, I just didn't get into it. I thought, I felt like I had to be like maybe 15 or 20 years younger. And even then, it was just dull. But this one's really fun.
I enjoyed a lot of the combat, but I absolutely hated the story.
Yeah, the combat was actually really good in 3. Yep.
Yeah.
And it is really fun in Tiny Tina's because now you have spells and you can cast spells while you're shooting your gun still.
Oh, cool.
And it is really fun. I've had a lot of fun. The only thing I don't like is it's only on Epic. Like you can't get it on Steam. There's like some exclusivity.
Yep. That's what
thing.
Epic does.
Exclusives are dumb.
I just don't like it. It's not that I care about having to have another launcher. The thing that bugs me more than anything else is every time I load the game loads up, but then in order to sign into your account, it opens up a Chrome window and I have to hit allow, and I don't know how to stop that. I have to allow Epic to have access to my account every single time I open the game up. So
that sounds pretty annoying.
But otherwise, the game is actually a lot of fun. But Are You Sassing Me just cracked me up so bad. It did make me think about, oh yeah, it's coming up this Friday. So
and then there's Torg, who is amazing.
Oh my God, he's so fun. Yeah, he's back. Yeah, they bring back a lot of the characters, and some of them are bad guys and good guys. So
Mordecai is my favorite. Is he in it?
He was awesome in number 1.
He's not.
He was so awesome in 1.
Mm-hmm.
They brought from number 1, I think, is Brick, right? He's the big melee huge dude. He comes back, but he's a fairy. He's like in a tutu and he's got tiny little wings.
Of course, Brick is a fairy.
Torque's hilarious because he's the explosions guy. But he's all about healing. He's all about healing a forest through his loot. Yeah, meanwhile screaming and yelling.
That's great.
They did a really good job with it. It was fun. But yeah, that was my week, man. It was hanging out at home, trying to work, and just being done with COVID. Honestly, that's what it was. Just trying to be finished with it, get it out of here and move on. I had some people that I had to meet up with yesterday, and they messaged me and they're like, so just so you know, we tested positive for COVID yesterday. Not really sure. We had symptoms since last week. I'm like, I don't care. I'll see you at 5.
Yeah, already had it.
Care.
Doesn't matter.
Don't care.
I'm still in the haven't had it.
No?
Department. Yeah, I'm a fucking cave gremlin. I don't go out. I don't do anything.
Yeah, ours came from our office.
Yeah, I'm an American without health insurance. I'm not gonna roll those dice.
You have did you get the vaccine or whatever?
I do.
Yeah.
But
I don't know how much of a difference it made. I feel like I kept telling myself through it, like, thank God I was going to die for sure, because I had to justify it. And also because I felt like garbage. I was like, well, this had to have been worse, right? If I didn't get it.
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, probably what you had was like one of the lesser variants too. Like the original OG Corona was probably terrible.
Thankfully we don't have like any of the Delta stuff. It's all Omicron here now. But it wasn't fun. I don't want to do it again. But that being said, both my wife and I, as much as we were like she had a really hard time with it because she has asthma, but both of us were like, do you remember about 4 years ago when we had the flu hit our house? It was the worst 2 weeks probably of my life.
Flus can be gnarly.
It was
depending
awful.
on what it is and how recently it's been since you had it and whether or not your immune system knows what the fuck to do.
It hit all of us in the house, and our house, it was like a house of death.
Yeah,
for
because
like
there's
2
like
weeks,
so many different variations and versions of it that like they only vaccinate against like what they think is going to be like the problem strain, but then like some other version of it is like, haha, bitches, it's me instead, and then like you have a super bad flu like that.
Yeah, it was way worse. So we're like, okay, well, it sucked, but that was 100 times worse. So
yeah,
and hopefully we don't have to worry about it anymore. I'm assuming that. I don't care. I don't need a counter argument to that. I don't need facts. I'm fine with it. I'll never get it again. It's
walking
fine.
outside and taking a big
good to go.
The fresh air.
Yeah, exactly. You've taught the immune system what to do now. So clearly.
Yep. Oh, fresh air is the best, man. I was telling Christina, I don't know if other people have the same thing, but I have a real big struggle when I'm in my house because I have to be in my house. It messes my head up. And I'm not the type that typically has like issues or whatever. I'm usually pretty fine, but when I'm in my house because I have to be, because I couldn't take my girls anywhere to go do stuff, so I had to stay in the house to work, it messes my head up. By the end of the day, I just don't feel right. So I was very happy to get out. We would go out in the backyard as much as often because I'm like, I need to breathe real air and grass. I want to smell grass.
I paid for this. I'm gonna sniff it.
My kids, that's right. My kids are on the trampoline. I'm laying face down in the backyard like yeah, it was good though. Good week.
Awesome. Glad you did.
What do we got, Ty? This week?
Well, are anybody drinking?
Not right now. I got
is that just yeah?
That's an after dark thing.
Yeah.
Is it only after dark though? Nobody got a head start?
I have had to do it sometimes just to get through our conversations, but not today.
Well, this week in PoE was almost non-existent. Ziz's Gauntlet is going on. some fan art and talent competition runners up and stuff, concept art. There's a sale on the store, and then they came out with a microtransaction for Stormcall. Looks pretty cool. It's
How close are we to the end of the league?
I don't know.
About a month
probably
away.
really close.
A month? Because no patches. I guess that kind of makes sense as we get closer.
Yep. So,
Yep,
but no, it was dead
It'll
week.
be either the 6th or 13th of May. I
Is
think
the
will be the
announcement
new
or
league. The new league.
Oh, cool.
So
So it's only like 4 or 5 weeks away then.
yeah, like the week after Bingo League is that when they usually start the announcement of the announcement.
You have your bingo league coming up.
Yep.
Tell us about it. When does it start?
It starts Friday night, which is
Right,
tonight,
right.
but
This comes
no,
out Sunday.
I
but yeah.
lied. The card comes out Friday night. Sorry.
Okay.
And then Saturday morning is when it starts.
Nice. And it's a 10-day event?
Yep.
Sweet. And is it going to be, I don't know, do you aim for a difficultiness or do you, like, what's the...
Yeah, I mean, no matter how hard you make something like that, there's always going to be people that can do it in like in a day and a half. And that's kind of where the challenge is.
They're jerks.
Set up is, so we have like, it's difficult enough that there's a race to get it done that is competitive. But then it's also not difficult enough that people, if they really want to like put their nose down and grind, can reasonably achieve this usually within 10 days. So, but then we also have our bounty system, which is something that we've started more recently, which has like a bunch of numerous fun, different challenges and stuff like that too.
Those are based on first to get it, or how does that work?
So the bounty board is usually, unless indicated by the sponsor, usually the first to get it. Sometimes they're like, okay, we'll do first and second place. But most of the time it's like a one and done sort of situation. With bingo, we take the top 3, get guaranteed supporter packs, and then anyone who finishes the bingo, or a bingo rather, not the bingo, within the 10 days gets entered into a raffle. And then 5 people from that get drawn for 200 points packs.
Hey, you do the bounty stuff is just people just something they want to add to it?
Yeah, they just decide they want to sponsor it, and then they pick out like what they want the person to do and a relative prize that they want to offer for it.
We need a Forever Exiled one time.
Yeah, you guys can sponsor it if you want to. I did win this league even too. So I have a dog that
What
likes
was
to
it?
stand on its hind legs all the time, Evie. She stands up on her hind legs all the time, and I just every single time she does, I have this habit of telling her, "Wow, you're so tall." She's a dachshund, so she's like a foot off of the ground even while standing. And so my bounty is called the Gargantuan because she is so tall. And so someone has to collect the entire Arch Nemesis inventory of nothing but Gargantuan modifiers. And they win a stash tab bundle if they do it. That's my bounty. So they go around, they map, they pick up Gargantuan. When it's full, they can turn it in. And if they're the first person to turn it in, they get stash tabs.
That's
the first
pretty
time
cool.
we've actually had stash tabs as a reward. Usually that's not, most people do like armor or wings or hideouts and stuff like that. But I was like, we haven't done any stash tabs ever, so I'll be the first person to do that.
How would you gift somebody wings?
So what I do is I talk to there's a lady that handles like the head of customer service or whatever. I just send her an email with like an itemized list. And then she sends me like a link, and it's basically
you're
for
gonna
the
make
total
Justin mad.
value of those points. And then
And you just pay for that?
and yeah, she sends it to me like it's a div card thing.
All right.
Why are you?
Justice
Did you have to
pulling
buy
something up.
200
I'm
points at a
pulling
time?
Yep.
I'm
Okay,
sorry.
here's what I have to do.
It has
Our
to be a
private
certain type or a certain over a certain amount though, because like mine is usually like well over $600.
So ours was, I don't know, 400 or so. I don't remember how much it was, but every single league have gotten back from them something that is similar to this one, which was, could you buy 2 nullifiers, 1 imperator, 1 100, 150, and then email us back?
And
Don't spend any of the points. So then I do it and I send them an email back and they're like, okay, thanks. We'll send this to the next level. And then I just have to sit there and wait. It drives me crazy every single private league. And I wasn't even going to bring it up, but I think they are one of the dumbest companies when it comes to trying to get money from people. Like if my
It's so
wife,
weird that they want to wash it through normal supporter packs. Because for me, even when it was like in the early stages of bingo, and bingo is really small, and we only had the 210 total cost. It was, they would always tell me to buy 200 points packs. Like, don't buy any supporter packs. Don't do anything like that. Because I wasn't allowed to get like the physical goods from them or anything like that. I had to make
sure I said no to physical goods if it was one includes, because we've done that in the past too when they're higher amounts. Make sure you say no to the physical goods. There was one time where they charged me for the wrong thing, or they told me to buy the wrong thing, and then they had to tell me to go buy this other thing. And it boggles my mind that they don't provide the ability to just say, hey, I would like to buy whatever X amount of money for points.
2,000 points or whatever.
Yep. Yeah. For like a parent or I don't know, somebody that wants to buy something for their kid or their partner or something that plays the game, the idea that you have to have an account and know how to get in and know what I just think it boggles my mind every single private league, because they just make it hard for someone to give them money, and that seems so stupid.
I always got super angry about having to buy it. You know, when you have 800 something dollars worth of bounties and normal bingo prizes, and they're like, buy it $20 pack at a time. Like, I was going fucking insane.
Yeah.
And so finally I got the ability to do it through like the div card. So they like make it so that like I buy a div card, but I don't actually buy a div card. They just take the money and then generate the codes for me.
Which is awesome, because I was saying to Tyler, for this one private league that we just finished, in order to get the points, cards, and whatever, the packages that we needed to get out to people, resulted in me getting 24 emails, because of all the combinations of like, you're paying money to Steam adds it to your wallet, it's a pathofexile purchase, and then it's a PayPal thing. Like, for every single one that goes through, you get 4 emails. I just find it stupid.
Very frustrating.
Anyway, I didn't mean to bring that up, but
thanks for that, BK. Thanks for that.
It's
Sorry
stupid.
that I just ran, you know.
I want to find out who you talk to, because
all through your wounds.
I just want one payment. Let me pay you one time and get my stuff. Anyway, go on.
Hopefully I haven't fucked anyone over by saying about it.
It makes sense that they have something. They would have. It just seems crazy to me that they don't. It's always surprised me that.
I've always thought it was kind of weird that there wasn't gift cards, but I guess they rely on people using Steam gift cards to then buy points or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, it's just tough too, because you can't, like we have a buddy who played in the private league, and he was excited because if he won, he wanted to use it towards a supporter pack. Well, you can't do that, because if we're giving out, a 200 point package, they don't let you use that towards supporter packs. So then I was really pissed off with GGG a couple weeks ago, just because of how the private league setup worked. Something was weird. They wouldn't let us make a hardcore solo self-found league, this league in Arch Nemesis. And support told me that it was because of the gauntlet, which made me really angry that because of that, I wouldn't be able to create a hardcore solo self-found. Weird. Yeah, and so I joked to Tyler, I was like, I'm just going to pay people through PayPal. They can buy whatever they want with it. But we didn't do that in the end. But I just find it so weird that a company that needs money
makes it so difficult to get money. Yeah.
Like I always go to the idea of like a parent wanting to buy their kid, some PoE stuff for Christmas or a birthday or whatever. And you can't. I can only imagine sending some parent an email that says, okay, now could you please go and buy this, and this? I'm like, nope, never mind. Getting something else. So anyway, so I think we should make one though. I think we should make a thing. What are they called? A bounty?
Yeah, absolutely.
When does it have to be in by? Can we make one tonight?
Just before it starts. So by 10 o'clock tomorrow morning. So you can make one tonight.
We're making one in After Dark.
Okay.
After Dark today, we'll figure out what it is.
Okay.
So anyway, when does yours start? It starts on Saturday.
Right. So the card will be released at 10 o'clock tonight. That's so people can have some time to plan, because some of these challenges are going to require like certain strategies. They can plan what build they're going to play, what sort of like Atlas tree they want to go with, especially since some of the challenges will involve interacting with different other league mechanics and systems. So like maybe the board wants you to focus on harvest and blight or something like that. Then so you have to plan that so you know what to do. So we always give a few hours for consideration. And then tomorrow morning at 10:30 my time is when the league actually starts. And
Is
then
it
another
trade?
10 days from that, it is trade.
Okay.
I actually, like, one of the things that I do when I'm setting up the card and putting the challenges in certain configurations is I always try and encourage trade, because going for one particular bingo will usually generate resources for another bingo, so that
Okay.
it encourages people to either like sell off stuff that they're generating but not using to people that do need it for their bingo and vice versa. So I try and like create a little bit of an economy at the same time so that it promotes the sort of like cooperation. And you have a lot of people, like there's a couple groups of folks that like are really in that community spirit where like they're like, okay, I'm done with bingo. If anyone else needs stuff for their bingo, just get in touch with me. I'll help you out. We'll get it done, et cetera, et cetera. And but those like first couple of days when everyone's going for like the first couple of bingos, they're like as bad as like dragons, man. They're sitting on their hoard. They don't fucking talk to anybody. They don't help anybody. And then as soon as they leave, it's all smiles and rainbows. Like, okay, I'm done with mine. Here you go. Have everything.
Because it's based on how fast you get the bingos, right?
The first 3 prizes are, yeah.
Okay.
And the bounties would be on speed too, but the lotto bingos are for, everyone having a chance to win.
And then for you, for like tracking bounties and the bingos, do they have to record it, or how do you make sure that they did what they're supposed to do?
It kind of depends on the challenge, but some of it is recording and some of it is screenshots. So there's a certain way you can take a screenshot with the league information in the top left, top right. So it like verifies that it is in fact in the league after all.
But like, so I'm just looking at yours, like all that glitters is gold, be the first to drop a glitter disc from Mazzaro's treasure room. Mm-hmm. Does that have something they'd have to have recorded, or they can just screenshot it and put it up? Or
so that would be recording, because at least it's not the entire labyrinth. It's just opening the boxes in Mazzaro's room there at the end after you fight him.
Right.
So the person that would submit that bounty would just basically be trying to do key runs to get as many keys as possible and then open up those things until it pops out. I thought that was actually kind of a cute bounty. I don't remember who did that.
Yeah, because they also are giving away Aperture, and they're giving away the golden character effect.
And I thought the name title on that one was clever.
Creative.
Yeah. Some are a little bit more creative than others. But I thought that, because isn't the phrase "all that glitters is not gold"?
Like the real phrase?
Yeah, the real phrase. I think so.
All that glitters. I don't know.
Hang on. This is where Justin has an awkward silence and starts typing.
Oh, it's time to Google. We're going to learn more.
You're right. All that glitters is not gold is the actual aphorism stating that not everything that looks precious or true turns out to be so. I didn't know that it was not.
Yeah.
I've always liked gold. That's pretty cool. I would have a very difficult time being that creative. It would take me a very long time.
We're coming up with one in After Dark.
Okay.
You missed that
it's
part
already
of the
been
conversation.
decided.
Okay.
We're coming up with a bounty in After Dark.
Awesome.
So, yep.
All right.
You heard it here first. Ty's just hearing it now.
It'll already probably be claimed by the time everyone's listening to this on Sunday.
Breakfast. Well, breaking the eggs.
That's right. It's going to be one of those sites. All right, cool. And so if people want to join it, what's the easiest way for them to find out? Because this will come out Sunday. So if people want to still hop into it, where's the best way?
So if you want to hop into bingo, even though it's already started, is you can follow my Twitter. It'll have the bingo card listed. There's information on how to join the actual league there in a post, or you can join the Discord as well, which is discord.gg/Brittleknee. And that will dump you in, and there's all the specific bingo channels there.
Awesome. We'll link it in the description as well.
Yeah. Cool. We had our private league this week. And,
how did it go?
It was awful.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
No, it went fine.
Yeah.
It was just, we made it way too hard. So we put on, because
and we're talking about this while the gauntlet's on, and we're like, oh, it's too hard.
Well, but it's a listen, we're not a gauntlet type of people. Okay. Gauntlet that's not my style of playing the game. Because in our anger of not being able to create a hardcore solo self-found league, we had to make it softcore, which we haven't done. And it was still solo self-found. And so in an After Dark, whilst conversating, we decided to add on increased monster damage, increased monster life, increased monster speed, and reduce player resistances at the highest level of each of them. Individually, they're fine. Combined, it was dumb. It was dumb. I think that's the best way to put it, right? It was just dumb.
Oh,
Mistakes
no.
were certainly made that after dark. And I would say
and it was
Tyler
what I
definitely paid the
wanted,
price.
and I hated it the
Exactly.
most. Oh my goodness! Here, I thought I was winning by getting him to make decisions while he was drunk, and
the best part was the league started on Friday last week. It just ended on Monday this week. So it started whatever it was, a Friday before that, Monday, but I don't remember. But it started on a Friday, and that Friday we played for a little bit. And then we did an After Dark episode with a buddy of ours. We had him join because he's new to playing Path of Exile. And so we wanted to talk to him about the game. And he was playing in the private league. And we were maybe 6 hours into the private league at the time that we did that. And Tyler's comment during that After Dark is, I think this is what Path of Exile should be. This is how Path of Exile should always be. And I was like, you're pretty early on. I don't really think that that's true. I think this is too hard and many people would not play. Tyler was raging.
I had a lot of rage quits.
Yeah.
I started a
How many
second
deaths?
character. So I started as a witch, and I thought it wasn't working out very well. I started another character that I actually felt was doing a lot better, but it ends up you can't skip Oak and keep progressing. You got to kill Oak, and I couldn't kill Oak. So
Or
this
help
character
him.
that felt better wasn't better. So I go back to the witch, who I'd passed Oak no problem, but I thought I was doing horribly with, and I was having the worst time in the world against Dominus. Ended up going back to the witch after I tried my chieftain, but couldn't kill Oak, and progressed. Hey, I got to Act 4, and I killed Vol no problem. So, no biggie, right?
How many deaths?
2
at that point?
And remember, I didn't die at Vol.
You got to Vol. You passed him, and that's where you stopped. that correct?
Yeah, maybe I went a little bit into the mine. I don't remember. No, I think I went.
so.
No, I think I got to the point where you're at the waypoint where you're choosing between the two directions, right? You're going into
Okay.
duress or comms. That's where I stopped.
Did you get there? Okay. God, I would have wanted to watch you do comms.
288 deaths. We're halfway through Act 4.
That's impressive. That's a feat.
Yeah, I was aiming for 300, but didn't quite get there.
Yeah, it was tough.
Yeah, it
And
wasn't.
people did really well. We had people, I think 96 was the highest overall.
Yeah, congratulations, Worthick. You got 96 assassin. You're a big jerk, big turd, but good job, Worthick.
But he also got first in 2 classes, I think, right? Didn't he get first in 2
there were
classes?
a couple people that got in the top 3, got first in 2. But congratulations to everybody that actually did really well. There was a lot of people that hit in the 90s, some in the high 90s, which, we hate you. But that crazy thing, though, happened. We had 2 people that actually tied for first because
I
they
saw
had
that. That's insane.
exact
XP.
same XP.
That is
The only thing I could think of is that you got to the next level, you die, and that's the only way that in my head I could process how that's possible.
Yeah,
Is you level to 91, you die, so you have no...
0% at level
Right?
91. Yeah, that's gotta be it.
Because I was like, that's how. Like, Fallon, who was the one who technically was second because they do it based on delve level, but we still gave them both credit for first place. He made it sound like he had tried to do it. And I was like, well, there's no magician in the world that can just go like, well, this guy gives X amount of XP, so
Yeah.
I'll kill 4 of those.
Yeah.
It was just crazy.
was,
I thought they were lying.
Like, well, I mean, it was one of the things that we didn't even worry about, like when we were actually doing more like non-gauntlet races. It was one of those things where we're like, oh, how do we break a tie on XP races? Because it would be like, all right, get as much XP as you can in like 2 hours. And then like we look at the number and it's like, oh fuck, we don't have to worry about it. Like there's literally no way.
Right. You can't.
So it has to be a level threshold or something. Because even the person that's in charge of PoE racing was like, yeah, fuck it. Never mind.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
It's crazy. And as far as I know, both Freaky DR and Thalen that did tie for points. I think that when they saw it, they just kept it that way. Neither tried to exceed the other. So I thought that was
A
kind of cool.
gentleman's
and fun.
agreement.
Yeah, a little fun
Apparently.
sportsmanship there. So that was pretty cool. If it was Justin, he would have been like, no. And he would have gone to Act 1, killed 1 zombie on the beach.
If I saw that, I would be like, don't touch that. That's magic. Like, I just don't, besides the fact of the idea of getting to the level and then dying, I'm trying to even find online. I can't even find a thing besides stupid math, which I have no interest in doing math. What the threshold is at each level of XP. There's a thing that's like, well, penalty part, but it's like player level little X
the graph,
plus.
the XP
I'm
graph.
not doing that stuff. If I can't Google it, no, thank you.
We've discovered. I feel like
doing math.
I was just going to say, I feel like Justin, if he was in that circumstance, he'd take a picture of the equal XP and then just before the league's going to end, go out and kill that zombie. That's what I think he would have done.
Hold on. Oh, wait. No, they only told you total XP. I'm not doing math. I wish it told you like, wait, what was their number? 2? No, it says at 91, at level 91, which is what they were, right? The total XP is actually 2,094,900,291, but they had 2,103,000,000. I don't know how I seriously, I'm
so they're like at that 5% threshold or something. I don't know. That's crazy.
They were over the threshold of what you get to 91. So they are just magicians.
But congratulations to everybody. We hope you had a fun time, even though I was a total grump throughout it all. It was a lot of fun, and it'll be fun to do it again.
It's super
it'll
grump. It was hilarious.
Farming you for your salt.
You should have seen him. It was hilarious.
Like the worst broadcast.
And making you angry.
Yeah, I'm like this.
Oh, yeah.
Good.
My cheek is like
so
on my face. My cheek is up. My fist is like resting on my face. I'm doing nothing. I'm not talking. And I'm just like, click.
This is stupid.
Click. Click.
It was awesome.
Half the time I'm forgetting that it's modded, right? That we've made it harder. So half the time I'm just being a grump because I think, but that's so stupid. Or, something like that.
No.
But I did the hardest parts that I've always struggled at in hardcore. I did those no problem. And it was the parts that I'm never worried about in hardcore that I sucked at. So it was extra worse. Anyway.
No.
BK,
Improve me.
Hang on a second.
Congratulations
to everybody. You're fantastic. And thank you for playing. And we hope you do a lot worse next league.
Hopefully it'll be hardcore again.
BK, you got to 100 again in a character this league. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Do you do that like just... we have
hates you already now. He's like,
no.
Your last
I like
episode.
We did an After Dark with our buddy Josh, who's new to League. Well, he played in Delve and then hadn't played since Delve.
Gotcha.
But he got to level 100 this league, and he was doing rotations of, I don't know. He joined some groups that were doing rotations of stuff. Do you do that, or are you just like, just chilling? I'm playing and I'm gonna get to 100.
I've done it both ways. So this last time was doing a group of doing domain carries. Most of it was like XP I got, and then I did 99 to 100 in the domain just because it's safer and faster. And
how many times do you run that?
I don't even know.
Oh, it's a lot though.
It's just a blur. I have no idea because I wasn't streaming or anything during it. It was just I did it on a Saturday. Took like 4.5 hours.
You just find a group, or did you know people, or what?
It was just me and a friend.
That's awesome, though.
Kind of pooled together resources and bought the stones and ran it together.
Good for you. It's fun to do that after hours.
Back when Archmage was like really, really strong, before they nerfed it, I had an Archmage Hierophant, and I hit 100 doing nothing but simulacrums all the way to wave 20.
Was that purposeful, or were you just enjoying it?
No, it's just like, one, I do love simulacrum as a content. But like the build was just that hardy and tough that like it literally did not matter what the simulacrum mods were put out. Like I could clear it to wave 20 every single time because the character was just that tanky. And so it just was like fun, and I did it to kind of prove a point that I could. And so like I just hit, I'd go all the way to wave 20 every single time, wouldn't log out, wouldn't, leave early, just push through it every single time all the way to 100. It was a lot of fun.
What was the build that you did it this time with?
Explosive Trap Saboteur.
How is that what you've been playing this league?
It's been primarily what I've played this league. I just got my Omni build off of the ground playing Omni Scourge. That's what I've been playing the last couple of days, and it's been fun.
What can you explain like what that is? What's the
okay,
build
so there's two new amulets, right? There's Ashes, which is the one that does like the level and quality scaling and has some mana reserve reduction, and the other one is sort of like an attribute stacker. It's called Omni, and basically it takes all of your collective attributes and pools them into a pile, and you get 25% of like that or something. I don't remember exactly how it breaks down, but basically it pulls all of your attributes into a giant pile, and then based off of what the number it spits out of, because it's a range depending on like how the roll on the necklace is, you get 1% all res and 1% LE pen per 10 of this new stat that it creates by smushing all of your other stats together. And
Cool.
so it's really, really good on elemental builds because it's a lot of access to elemental penetration, and it gives you a lot of res, which means that, like, say, for example, you can use a lot of damage suffixes. So all of the crits, crit multi, attack speed, cast speed, all this kind of stuff, those are all suffixes, and you don't need elemental resistance anymore. So now you can load up all of your gear with either more attributes or some of these other damage scalars instead of having to worry about resistances. All you need is life and chaos res, basically. And so it's been a really, really popular build because it's like insert random elemental skill plus big budget for stat stacking equals damage. And yeah, it's been a lot of fun. I'm kind of going a middle of the road approach of trying to find like some sort of middle ground between defense and damage. Like I don't want like people in softcore are just doing the usual like 3k archer builds, like 3k life and giga damage and just don't get hit forehead sort of thing. But I'm really trying to find like I don't know, a middle of the road.
It's fun so far.
I'm going Ascendant because I like the way the new jewels work with Ascendant because of you just basically get a whole nother sub-ascendancy, which is really powerful in Scion. So the way I have it set up now is actually Berserker, Juggernaut, Deadeye, because I'm utilizing Berserk as a defensive layer because it's 20% less damage taken, and that's just generically very good. So I've got like really, really high, I have like Grace, Defiance Banner, and cap spell suppression, Berserk, and some other stuff as like my mitigators. And it's been fun so far.
Cool. I saw you working on a kind of a double Scourge arrow build as well.
Yeah, that's what it is. That's the
that's
Omni
the same
build.
one.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's the
Yeah.
Omni build. Okay, so you have yourself. It's not called self-casting. Is it self-attacking with Scourge arrow, and then you also have multiple totems as well?
Yep. Because of the focus ballista support is actually like really, really good for Scourge arrow. Because a ballista will always channel like the Scourge arrow always to 5 stacks and then let go. Yep. So you don't get like your full damage for it. But with focus ballista, it lines up with pod placement. So you have like really, really good concentrated pod damage because they're all focusing their pods in at the same area, almost the same way Toxic Rain is. Because you want to like guarantee that a boss is going to get hit by as many of the thorn arrows that come from the pod as possible. Like you want the most amount of those to actually connect to the boss. And so much so that there was actually a strategy to only get 1+ arrow with Scourge arrow because it changed the pod dispersal from a line to a V shape. And you would just put the boss in the V. And then that would maximize the amount of, pods that was being created. So Focus Ballista is like super, super good for Scourge arrow in that same sort of way that you're just able to like put a lot of pods down and just like fuck something up. So it's really cool.
That is cool. Nice. And you have quite a few characters that you've hit 100 with in terms of it. This league, was this league harder, easier, in the middle?
Easier, I'd say.
Yeah, what made it easier? The state of the game or the league mechanics?
The new in-game is absolutely insane. Like the Atlas passive tree and all the different mods and stuff that you could add to the game. Like with the Scourge arrow character, I've been leveling it. She was like, I went from, I want to say like 78 to 91 in like a day of farming. Well, not like a day, but like a stream because of how dense it is. It's like as soon as I get into T14 maps, and I was actually just running them white.
Why not?
I was running them white and with 4 sextants and all the different league mechanics that are brought in by my passive tree and then hitting fortune favors. Like I wasn't even going for like the optimal beyond strategy. Like I was just doing fortune favors and rolling the dice and letting it just be whatever it is. Because that's how my passive tree was set up, was just like to kind of min-max fortune favors so that I wouldn't spend a lot of chaos. And I was doing like 490 million XP an hour.
Wow.
It was like just in mapping on a white map. That's what I kept saying like the entire time. Like, this is insane. Like, and one of my buddies hit 100 by accident just doing the beyond farming strategies. Like, it just happened because there's just so much XP to be had.
Do you keep playing a character after you've hit 100 with your?
Yeah, of course.
What motivates you? Yeah, it's not the constant improvement. What is it that you're looking for after 100? Is it just because the build's fun, or is it because there's always better gear?
I mean, none of my builds are very expensive anyways. Like, a lot of what I don't know, it's so hard to work with these sort of generalizations, but I still have that part of me, even though I haven't really done many written guides lately, is I still have that sort of like self-imposed limit of where I try not to spend more than like 20 to 40x per build. Because I want it to be approachable if I'm going to be distributing POBs to people. Like, if they want to take it to 100, 150, 200x and like really max the shit out of it because I like the idea, great, go for it. But like for me in general, I would much rather have 4 to 5 builds at 20 to 40x each than one build that's worth multiple mirrors. Like, that's just how I am. I like to explore and experience different things rather than be a god at one thing.
Yeah.
So that's just, it kind of comes down to personal preference at that point in time. Like, I kind of put a little bit into it and then kind of back off because I'm still sitting on quite a bit of quite a bit. So I think there might be one more project before the league is done.
Another build?
Yeah. There's a really cool cremation build that I've seen videos for that I kind of want to go try it. So it might just be my dump money build. I don't take it. I mean, it goes to standard, but a lot of the time I try and end a league with 0 monies if possible by just dumping everything into some ridiculous meme. I did like Dark Pact Assassin before.
That's cool.
Some other kind of silly jank stuff that needs lots of money to be functional. That's kind of what the end of the league is for me.
Neat. And with your passive tree, have you bounced around with your passive tree? This is the first league that has been out, right?
Atlas passive tree.
Yeah, sorry, Atlas passive tree. Have you?
I did now because I'm trying to finish up some of my challenges. I'm going to be hitting 40 of 40 this week.
Good for you.
But it unfortunately I had, personal stuff pop up in the middle of the league. So like there was like 2 or 3 weeks there where I didn't play at all. And that kind of like brought a huge halt to a lot of like what my strategies were as far as going into the league and how I was going to progress. So like my original idea was I was the dedicated bosser for a group of friends, right? And so they were just feeding me all the boss maps and I was just killing bosses all day, every day. That was just what I did. Log on, boss maps. That was really, really fun to me. But like that, my Atlas was 100% focused on that, which is where I came up with a strategy of kind of like min-maxing fortune favors, because like when I'm just doing nothing but bosses, there's no real reason to do sextants and scarabs and all this other kind of stuff, just because like a lot of the boss maps either are random because they're the ones that are inhabited by certain guardians, or like they're, like the Minotaur's map and stuff like that. It's just not good for farming anyways. Like, it's not a good layout considering the entire Atlas can be tier 16 and you can focus on something like Cemetery, which has like good card drops and all that other kind of stuff. Like, it's just not worth to put it in. So I wanted to get some juice out of it, but then not like have to focus too hard on it. So I was like, well, I can always just roll fortune favors and see what happens. So that's how my tree was set up. Like strong boxes, harbinger, rituals, like that kind of stuff. And then I just ran bosses.
Did you find speccing into bosses worth it? Like, did you find the percentages really returned your reward?
For sure. There was entire strategies basically to create as many boss maps as possible. And I was dropping quite a few myself as I was doing them. So nice. I think, even despite of me being fed bosses, I still came up with quite a few on my own. I thought it was far more generous than it had been, as far as access to Shaper and Elder and Cyrus.
And what about the return with your Fortune Favors the Brave setup? Did you find that return running white maps legit?
No, I didn't always run white. So when I was bossing, I was actually like rolling them.
Yeah.
It's just like with this latest character, because I just wanted to have safe XP rather than profits that I was leaving the maps white.
That's the experience I'm referring to. Didn't mean to combine them in your head.
Oh, okay.
I just meant more recently.
Yeah, I imagine. I mean, it's hard to feel like, because at this point in time, I'm burning maps for completion of challenges rather than profit. So I don't know. I'm at least getting the cost of the map and the fortune favors back easy peasy. But I don't know about all the sextants and scarabs and stuff like that. I have no idea.
You getting it back in raw currency or in sales?
We're getting it back in XP.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm burning money for XP, basically. I'm adding pack size. Now, whether that pack size actually distributes out to a profit, I have no idea because that's not what I'm focused on. I'm just get as much XP as quickly as possible and get the maps done as quickly as possible. But
Nice.
the original idea was to have the boss character and get to a good spot with that and then roll like a more like map farming character. So I would have, if I had been able to, like I was going to do a KB Fever Wander. So that's the corrupting fever.
Oh.
Using kinetic blast to spread the fever everywhere. Because it's got a really nice AoE, really fun and zoomy. And then I was going to do like a more dedicated farm sort of tree with that, with like different types of points. So like I was planning on respeccing 3 times the Alice tree. One for bossing, one for farming, and then one for challenge completion. Because some of the challenge completion wanted you to have like either certain outcomes from previous league mechanics or, you know, have like a certain situations happen. And so like you'd have to change a couple points around just for that anyways. I figured by the end of the league and after all that farming, I'd have plenty of the regret points, so it didn't really matter. But, you know, best laid plans and all that, life gets in the way from time to time, so.
On occasion.
Still going to hit 40 out of 40. So
yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, which is crazy.
Hit 100 and still going to hit 40 out of 40, so, you know.
What's your thoughts on the current end game? Like, is this
fantastic? The best it's ever been. PoE has never been. I mean, like 10 out of 10 best league I never played because I didn't fucking play Arch Nemesis at all. But I played the shit out of the game for the last couple of weeks when I wasn't playing. The new end game is so much fun. It feels so good. Like the progressing through the maps feels natural again. Kind of like because I started in 3.0, which is when it was from tier 1 to the middle, which was the 4 guardians and then Shaper in the very, very middle of the compass. Like that's when I started.
Yep.
The good old days.
Yeah. Back in my day. But so it has that sort of nice linear track again. You sassing me? So yeah, I just like that. And then the agency provided, I like the idea of the Atlas Passive tree mostly because it's customizable to your build as well as the content that you like. And it takes a lot of pressure off of like, okay, now I have to have sextants and I have to have scarabs and I have to have this and I have to have that. Like you can just kind of like map casually and still make money, which is really cool. But you can also tailor your experiences. So like for the longest time, like the biggest, I think, anxiety over choosing a league starter for most players is like, how do I be the best at everything because everything is so profitable? Like I need a build that kills bosses, is super zoomy, can clear, can do this, can do that. And there was like, I have to choose the best one. And this new in-game and the new passive tree is really good at being like, okay, well, I really like playing this build at a league starter because it's cheap, you know, easy to scale, it's affordable, it's something that I know it's within my budget, and then I can pick these Atlas passives and these activities to do, and I can still make money. Like, I started at a single target trap skill, which would have been like the worst fucking decision of my life in previous iterations of the Atlas because I wouldn't have any clear or anything, but I was able to choose a lot of like essences, strongbox, rituals, harbingers, all of these sort of league mechanics that you benefit from having a very strong single target. Like the essence nodes where it's like, oh, here's an essence. It's got 7 lines on it. And as soon as you bust it out, it's instantly duplicated. I was dropping those instantly because I could put all my traps down and then open it up and boom, pick it all up, keep going. Like,
can I have a closet confession right here?
Uh-oh.
I just discovered last episode. I think it was after dark, so only like a couple people heard it. A couple million. I mean, I didn't know that some essences rolled like a chaos.
He was so dumbfounded when I
it
said
blew
it.
my
Like,
mind.
It was only a couple leagues ago that they changed it, though, so don't feel too
really?
bad.
It wasn't only a couple leagues ago. Justin, why didn't you tell me to make me feel better? Anyway, go ahead.
That's
BK.
not my job.
That's my closet confession.
The essences are really powerful for early crafting and just crafting in general. I really like them.
I did them in our private league. Did not do them in the main league and loved it. It was so much fun. I wasn't entirely sure why I didn't do it in my main Atlas, but in the private league, I had so much fun with essences.
Now, BK, I didn't mean to interrupt you, though. Did you have more to say?
I have no idea.
If you were to do then an Atlas just based on fun per hour, you're finished all your goals, you've done everything, or maybe you're getting graded on how much you smile throughout your gaming experience. What would be like what mechanics would you invest to for your fun per hour Atlas?
It kind of depends on what sort of build I'm playing. My favorite content in the game is simulacrums, always and forever. They're fun, they're challenging, it's really fast paced as far as like the wave system. I don't know if it's because I've played a lot of sort of like it's kind of tower defensey without it being fucking here's, blight turrets and all this other kind of crap you have to manage, but it has that sort of like wave feel to it where really intense combat and then a little bit of a break, a really intense combat, a little bit of break. And it's got that nice sort of mix between here's a bunch of rewards and then here's some really hard stuff to do. The mods changing and creating new challenges, and the bosses are kind of fun too. Like I like the damage patterns between Kosis and I call him Slap Chop. I have no idea what his name actually is. The one with the giant axe. He's just Slap Chop to me.
I've totally met him and killed him 1,000 times.
I have no idea what it is. It's like omniphobia or I don't know.
Yeah, probably.
Onomatopoeia. Who knows? But yeah, I love everything about simulacrums. It's really fun.
Okay.
And it's even got that little bit like of a gamble sort of stuff into it too, because you can get like a unique, or I think you can get multiple uniques out of it now that it goes all the way to 30. And like, so you see a voices drop and you're like, ooh, what is it? And like, sometimes it's a good one, sometimes it's a bad one. So there's like that, it's kind of like that microcosm of all of the best PoE experiences like in one. So pretty much like heaven to me is just an entire stash tab full of simulacrums with a build strong enough to just kind of brain off them.
That's awesome.
What's the farthest you've been to a simulacrum, Ty? Do you know?
I haven't done one.
Oh.
I've never.
Ever?
No. The league, when it came out as a league, was too fast for a player like myself. I wasn't fast enough to actually keep up. Like, defense was different then, right? So when you're going defense first then, but you're a slower player like myself, you just couldn't keep up. Like my Righteous Fire character, it could handle the offense they had, but I didn't have the offense to progress fast enough and keep up with the wave. And then when it turned into every now and then mechanic, I mean, it was how much? Like 16 chaos, I think it was, and for the Xana modifier. And it wasn't something that when the old Atlas tree existed and it had, all the different regions, I wasn't the type of player where I would only focus on one region for one mechanic. I just liked playing whatever maps dropped, and I would play the map of the highest tier that I had the most of that highest tier. And so I would end up in my regions quite randomly. And so there wasn't really a focus and investment in it. So never really had the opportunity until now. And I'm excited for it. My next Atlas passive tree, if they allow free respecs, is definitely going to be fully loaded into Delirium, but never done one.
You get a free respec every league.
For characters, we'll find out about the Atlas passive.
No, you get Atlas. You can reset it every single league.
What are you talking about?
I get a new Atlas passive. My Atlas passive tree. Yeah, it's new every single league.
I hate you. So anyway, league only player. How far have you gone?
I did 20. I did the 20 what used to be the cap. I don't know that I actually tried it since they increased the cap.
28, 29, and 30 are fucking bonkers.
I can't imagine. Does it still scale in difficulty? So 20 is still the same difficulty as it used to be?
Yeah.
I don't know that I would go much further than that then. Because I mean, maybe if I was building something specifically around that, I found it tough. It gets like hectic, like really crazy. It's all of a sudden just like, hey, here's everyone.
Yeah. For me, Wave 30 became sort of like, it's not something I would get to every single time. And then when I got there, it was mostly just RNG and fishing, because like I'd have certain mods that would basically completely neuter my damage.
Right.
And so it was always sort of like the RNG of getting to Wave 30 with mods that were approachable, which was like the main determining factor of whether or not I'd clear it. Like if I hit it with like reduced effective ailments and fire res, like I was fucked. There was no way I was going to be able to kill, like, 'cause the bosses would have so much HP, and especially Kosis, because he has that energy shield that he likes to replenish when he does his big channel. into the big bubble. Like I wouldn't be able to, there's just no way. It would take like years. And then like he would do so much damage to me because of all of his crazy mods that I'd have to like play perfectly or I'd get one shot. So anything taking like years and years and years and then getting like one shot through what are normally reasonable defenses.
Yeah.
It's just like, oh my God.
When the mods rolled? At the beginning of each wave?
Yeah, at the beginning of each wave, you get to see them before you initiate that wave.
Yeah, the process of it, like the idea behind the simulacrum is really cool because you kind of talk to them at the beginning and then start the wave and you know what you're about to get, but it ramps up. I remember by like, I haven't done it since they changed it, but I do remember once I would hit like 15, 16, I'd be like, well, let's see if this works.
Yeah.
Expecting fully that it would not.
Yeah.
It's fun though. All right, Ty, are we done your list?
Yeah.
Did we clear your list?
Cleared my list.
Sweet.
It's nice to see you, BK. I'm glad
Yeah.
That
you
just means it's after dark time.
It is. But are you good for later,
Of
BK?
course.
Like
You
it's
can join us for after dark.
Yep.
it's what, like 6.5 hours away probably?
Sure. Why not?
Right
Somehow
on,
the
right
time
on.
difference. Do you guys do what's the daylight savings?
Yeah, we do.
I don't understand how we got 3 hours apart. I could have sworn we were always 4 hours apart.
It's always been 3.
I don't believe you. Nope. Disagree.
It's someone else that's 4.5.
No,
And that's weird.
Yeah, that is weird. All right. Well, let's wrap this up and then we will hang out in After Dark. Thank you, BK, for joining us for 131.
Thanks for having me. Always a pleasure.
It was a blast. Thanks, everybody, for joining us for episode 131 of Forever Exiled, the Path of Exile podcast. I'm Justin, AK Tags.
Tyler Record of Days.
And I'm Brittleknee.
It's so good. I don't even have to say anything anymore. Patrons will catch you guys in After Dark. Everybody else will see you in episode 132 next week. You can find BK's information down below if you're looking for it. We got a website, foreverexiled.com. We're on Twitter, foreverexiled82. We have a Discord, which you should be on if you're not. And Patreon and other things are down below on our website. Bye. Wow, no bye.